Hi, welcome to this video to talk about the neuromuscular adaptation and in particular the graph that you're looking at. So let's take a look at the first A, which is strength gain due to neural factors. And why do we know, or how can we tell from this graph that it is focused on neural factors? First of all, you have your EMG on the y-axis, your force on the x-axis. So this was a data from a training study. So before training is the solid line, dashed line is after training. So the first thing you'd look at to see if there was a training effect is, did this force increase before to after training? And indeed, it did. So we have a shift, this much of an increase in force, so there was a training effect. And then the following question would be, what type of adaptation was that training effect due to neural factors or more structural changes in the muscle? So this is where you look at the relationship between EMG and force. So we have an increase in force, and let's see if we have also an increase in EMG. And indeed we do. So if you have an increase in force and an increase in EMG, that is suggesting that there was more muscle activation as you needed that increased force, so there was a recruitment of more motor units or an increase in the rate coding of those motor units. So that was a neural adaptation. And we can compare this to B, which is a strength gain due to hypertrophy or potentially hyperplasia. So again, we see this increase in force from here to here. And then we want to look to see if there's an increase in EMG. And these look like they're about at the same EMG level. So this is telling you for the same muscle activation, so for the same neural input, you're getting a greater force output. So the motor units that you are recruiting are bigger in cross-sectional area or physiologic cross-sectional area. So there are more sarcomeres in parallel to generate more force. And then finally, for completion, we'll look at C, which suggests gains due to both factors. So we have an increase in force, and we can see there's a shifting over of similar to what we saw in B at the same EMG level, so you have some hypertrophy. And we also have an increase in EMG suggesting neural factors. And so that's a graph explaining or showing that you have strength gains due to both factors. Okay?